And we're live. Special afternoon for North America edition, late evening for our European friends. Give everybody some time. We have a fantastic guest today. Fantastic. Guys, everybody, please tell me in the comments how much you love my Golden Girl picture that I have right in behind me. My wife picked that. So she kicked me out of the basement and I'm up on the main floor. I'll give some time for people to join. Oh, nice. People were paying attention. The ticker gave away who our guest is. Yes, how are you, Gio, Youssef, Alec? Amazing. Guys, we'll get it started. Cari amici sportivi, welcome to a special midweek Milan weekly podcast. Here we talk a lot about Milan, we talk a lot about Italy, but we have a fantastic guest. We have Chloe Beresford on the show with us tonight.
Hey,
Today, Chloe, say hi to everybody.
hi everyone.
Chloe, thank you very much. I know it's around supper time or maybe close to supper time for you guys there in
Yeah.
across the pond. Thank you for taking the time. I'm a big fan. I'm always following your work and and your Twitter. I'm always going back and forth to trying to comment, and hopefully you see my comments. So for me, it's a big privilege to have you on. Chloe, if you could just tell people who I don't know if they've been hiding under a rock, but what you do and of course who you cheer for.
Okay. So I am a freelance Serie A writer. I've been doing it full time now for a few years. I wrote for various different publications, but just recently I've started my own newsletter and podcast, which is a subscriber type arrangement. And my team is Fiorentina.
Fiorentina, yes, La Viola. Here, if for people who don't know, I Steve Polillo, am from Montreal, Quebec. So the Quebec flag has the fleur de lis, and so does the Fiorentina emblem. So a lot of people here in especially in Montreal and in Quebec look to Fiorentina and why that fleur de lis is there. But again, welcome, and if you guys are not following Chloe, her Twitter handle is in the ticker. I'll leave it there for everybody while we talk. Chloe, how did you start cheering for Fiorentina? Everybody, it's very easy for everybody to cheer for Juve, Milan. I'll include myself as well. Inter, the more higher, I don't want to say higher profile teams in Serie A, but I think I know why. There's a soft spot for me in Fiorentina. Baggio played there, Battistuta, Rui Costa. The legends go on and on that passed through Fiorentina. But what was so magical about Fiorentina that you caught on to them and you decided to be a supporter of Fiorentina?
Okay, it's a special family story really for me. I'm from the UK, from England, and where we live is just south of Manchester. And in the 1930s, my great grandfather played for Manchester City. But he was kind of mainly a reserve player. He didn't play very much for the first team because they had big superstar players at the time. Sir Matt Busby, who is obviously a Manchester United legend, and so they won the FA Cup in 1934. My great granddad didn't play, but after that, they went on a post-season tour to the continent, to France and Italy. And the players that kept my great grandfather out of the team were England internationals. They went away on international duty, And so he got his chance to play versus Fiorentina in it was then the Stadio Berta, now renamed the Stadio Artemio Franchi. And actually, a really nice part of the story is that the Italian 1934 World Cup squad, who were just about to they were just about to start playing in the World Cup. They went on to win the World Cup, and of course, they were only down the road in Coverciano. They were on the sidelines, Giuseppe Miazza, loads of names you would recognise, and they were watching my great granddad play football. And he scored a goal in that match. It was a 3-3 draw with Fiorentina. So obviously, my father, who's football crazy, he introduced me to the sport, and we went across to Florence to see where this member of our family had played in the 1930s. And it just kind of blossomed from there. We met people, we made friends. They were interested in our story. They loved to see English people come over and support the team. And it's just been an absolute love affair from then, really.
That's an amazing story, and it's I don't know if it's by chance that we have you on now, and I started watching the All or Nothing Man City there the other night there. So amazing story, and what a great connection there. Uh, Fiorentina for me, I've never had any hatred for Fiorentina. I've really appreciated the way they've identified talent and continue to be, for me, I think, a good breeding ground for talent, whether it be Italian or foreign. Um, and they did get into some trouble, and they did end up going down and have to make their way back up, which was sad. I want to know, from someone, let's say on the Fiorentina side, like having to be that team that is identified as being someone who's developing talent but is going to be sold. So like I'm talking a lot more about the Chiesa, and I'm gonna butcher his name there, the central defender there, Milivojevic Davidovic. Where in the past it's always been, the Bajos have come and gone, Batistuta has come and gone, Rui Costa has come and gone, like these, I consider Baggio's my favorite player, my favorite Italian player of all time, and I consider him world class, right? Batistuta is a great striker, did a lot of great things for Fiorentina, then left to Rome, and it's in Rome where he had that Scudetto win, right? Rui Costa had left Fiorentina, came to Milan, and he had again some more success with Milan. How does it feel as a supporter of Fiorentina? Is it frustrating to see that talent leave all the time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's really frustrating. I think the sort of the plus point is that all the support of Fiorentina it's so kind of linked to the city. It's so passionate. They support those famous purple shirts no matter what. And I think the fact that the club has had such a selling policy over in its history, that the ambition of the owners has not often matched the passion of the supporters. I think maybe the tide is changing a little bit. I'm more optimistic now that we have Rocco Commisso as an owner. Obviously, the previous owners, Andrea and Diego Della Valle, they let the club really stagnate, and they saved them when they went out of existence, but they didn't really push the club forward. There is such a special aspect of Fiorentina. There is such it's very marketable in a way, because you've got the city and the colour and the history, and I think for too long the club haven't really made the most of that, and not generated the kind of revenues that would allow them to keep hold of some of these players.
Yeah, and you know what? The dreaded move from Fiorentina is leaving Fiorentina and going to Juventus. There, it drives the fans absolutely mad, and rightfully so. I'd like to pick your brain about. For me, I've been very vocal about Italian talent leaving a team like Fiorentina to go to a team like example Juventus and sit on the bench, not develop anymore, kind of lose confidence, and almost destroy your career. Example Bernardeschi.
Mm-hmm.
At Fiorentina, I loved watching Bernardeschi. I understand, there's a money aspect to it, and there's that appeal to win a scudetto. I'm not in favor of this Italian talent or any talent, doesn't matter, doesn't have to be Italian, but leaving a team like Fiorentina, where you know what, he was the main focal point of the team, he was really doing well, he made the national team, he was opening everybody's eyes, making that transfer for him, he thinks it's a positive transfer for his career, but ends up being completely negative. What are your thoughts on Bernardeschi and that type of move? We're gonna leave the Baggio out of it, because that's world class player, and things like that will happen. But let's face it. For me, Bernardeschi is not world class. I think he has talent. He has talent to be a good player, and I think he's lost at least 3-4 years of his career, and maybe digressed going to Juve. What are your thoughts on that, Chloe?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think that there is a kind of trend of modern players in the sort of social media age that, they get these sort of, they do a fancy turn or a little, a bit of skill in a game, and it gets played and played and played on Twitter or wherever and people see that. They don't watch the rest of the 90 minutes where they've played in a really frustrating manner. They see that and they're like, oh, this player is world class. And I think a lot of that gets back to the players. It goes to their heads. They believe their own hype. And they prematurely push for a move away, and it isn't always the best thing. I mean, I think with Bernardeschi, I think a lot of his problems come from a kind of a bit of a weak mentality. I think that he,
I find that sometimes, when sorry to cut you off there, but it just
it's
came to
okay.
me when you said lack of mentality. I find that once I watch an interview of Bernardeschi, sometimes he's more interested in like talking about, he likes to play music. I seen him with the guitars, he has the
Yeah,
tattoos.
yeah.
But when I'm watching that as a fan of a club that paid X amount of millions for him, hey, I don't care that you like to play guitar. I want to
Yeah.
see you. I want to see your potential out on the field. Sorry about that. You said that, and it clicked for me. It's like the guy loves
Yeah.
to play guitar. I get it, but right now we don't care about that. Sky 24 doesn't care like you want to play guitar. He wants to see you in the national team, and the Juve players, that the Juve team that just bought you, wants to see on the starting lineup, right? So
Yeah, I think with Bernardeschi, it was like a case of he wanted to just skip straight to the top without putting in the hard work. And we all know that you can't just do that. You've got to put the work in. You've got to be prepared to make sacrifices. And yeah, I just don't think I think everything just goes to his head, really.
yeah, yeah, and I don't want to I don't want to like put down his scudetto. He has a scudetto, right? It's something that myself for sure I will never get, and I'm gonna put you in the same boat. I don't know if you're gonna ever get a scudetto. I hope,
No,
but we're not gonna get that. So
not for
yeah,
me.
I get it that he has a scudetto, but did he really play an important part in that scudetto? Not really,
No.
right? So uh, I hope that that his future is probably away from you. Well, now with Pirlo, we'll see what Juventus wants to do and what they're going to do with Bernardeschi. But I hope it changes for him. And I brought up Bernardeschi because there's two hot topics, right? One is Chiesa, and the other is Milenko all the Viches that we have, the center back, and
Yeah.
also Chiesa, right? So Rocco Commisso, Kumbare Commisso, he put a $70 million price tag on Chiesa. I want to know. I'm asking you, do you think that $70 million is a fair transfer value for Chiesa? And also, if he would have to make a move, to where?
Yeah. It's a tough one because obviously young Italian players are always at a premium. They always cost a bit more. But for me, Chiesa doesn't have enough of an end product to his game to warrant that kind of money. He again shows flashes of brilliance. You see clips of him. He's had some. He's had one or two really truly excellent performances for Fiorentina.
I don't know. I think we might have lost Chloe. We might have lost Chloe. So we're talking again. I don't know if Chloe hears us, but we seem to have lost her. But again, just for everybody, while Chloe tries to get back, I try to remove her there and just talk about a little bit of why I asked that Chiesa question. So basically, I'm asking that Chiesa question because it's $70 million, guys, right? So uh, before all this madness, Milan's most expensive transfer was Rui Costa, right, from Fiorentina. Just for you, everybody has their opinion. It can be and it cannot be. It cannot be warranted of being the most expensive transfer. But if Milan would go after Chiesa, and I don't, I think that $70 million is put on Chiesa's head because we I get Fiorentina. It's tough, and that's why I was asking Chloe, hey, is it tough to lose a player all the he doesn't want, he's a new owner. He doesn't want to lose Chiesa. Is Chiesa going to force a move? Maybe. But if I'm Fiorentina, I'm showing them the tape of Bernardeschi. Hey, Chiesa, look, I get it that you want to move on from us. You might not think that we're going to take you to where you want to go, but look what happened to Bernardeschi. Yeah, sure, he won a Scudetto, that's fine, but he declined in his career, right? So, for me, I would be showing him that, and the $70 million price tag is going to be chipped down. It's obvious, no one's going to pay that, and it's interesting, and I hope Chloe could get back to us because I want her input on to continue to talk about that end product, right? So we're putting price tags on these young guys where uh, you know. Uh, yeah, they're doing some good, especially Italians, and playing for a national team. But again, like she said, there's no finished product at the end. Like, what am I getting if I get Chiesa? And that's the tough part with stuff like that is because it's a gamble, right? You don't know after you spend that money what exactly you're gonna get. So I see in the comments there from Ansan was Silva, right? So yeah, I guess Silva was the most expensive, but I said before all this Mercato madness, right, and the price tags going up, it was Rui Costa. But again, Silva, we thought we were getting a striker. Unfortunately, it doesn't just work out, right? So there's a lot of things that need to happen for a transfer to work out, right? So as we wait for Chloe, if you guys have any questions, just please feel free to shoot them in the comments, and we'll talk about that. Right. So, I really like to get Chloe back and see if we can get her back on because I would like to talk about her projects and what she's working on. Right. So, and her experience to COVID for you guys there. So I'm gonna destroy your name, Mayank Sharma. Potential Milan lineup. Look, I'm sticking with what worked. Right. I want to see Donnarumma in nets. I want Romagnoli healthy next to Kajar. Right back. If Conte is healthy right now, if we don't purchase another right back, I'm putting in Conte on the right. On the left, it's Theo Hernandez. In the middle, I would love to stick again. I would love to try for Pioli to find a way, and I think he can, to find a way to fit Kessie, Benacer, and Tonali in there. Um, but if he can't, we're gonna have to have the young kid just try to get back into getting into the lineup. And again, midfield, we're gonna continue to ride the Chanaloglu and Rebic and Zlatan up front, right? So I think we got Chloe back, so I'm gonna add her back. Yes, Chloe. We got you back.
Hello, sorry,
Yes,
my
don't worry
connection
about
went.
it. Don't worry. I just continue talking for you. No, we left off there with everybody. So that you left off by saying, that $70 million price tag for Chiesa. We really don't know what that finished product is, right? And that's true for all transfers of that magnitude, right? We don't know what we're gonna get. We don't know if it's gonna translate. But if you can continue to elaborate on the Chiesa and the 70 million.
Yeah, so yeah, he's had some amazing performances. He scored a hat trick in the Coppa Italia match when Fiorentina beat Roma like something like 7-1 a couple of years ago, and he was absolutely superb. But there are too many matches where he shoots when he should pass, he passes when he should shoot. There's just, he takes so many chances away from other members of the team, and there's like 6 goals to show for it at the end of the season, and it's it in my opinion it's held Fiorentina back a little bit in recent times, and yeah, he's got a long way to go before he is the finished product, and a lot of examining his own performances, I would say.
Nice, and well said. And we go back, and I'm going back and forth. I always go back and forth there, Chloe. So stop me and tell me if I'm making you dizzy. But we spoke about the old ownership of Fiorentina and the new one now. Uh, as someone who covers the team as closely as you do, what difference do you see between the old owners and now Rocco Miso?
The biggest difference I would say is that the new owners are clearly trying to undo all the mess that was left from 17 years of letting a big football club stagnate. They're trying to start from the bottom up, which I think is sensible. Too many big investors come into teams and they just try and spend their way out of trouble, and we know that doesn't work, not in the long term anyway. So it might be a little bit frustrating to not see the kind of immediate results that we want, but it's securing the long-term future of the club, and that is so important when we've seen what's happened, to clubs when they just go bankrupt or disappear, or you guys have seen that with Milan. It's just too important.
Yeah, living proof of that you cannot spend your way out of trouble. As much as Twitter wants everybody to spend, there is something that's called a budget. And
Yeah,
once you're in the red, the main goal of that football club slash business is to get out of the red, right? So, Milan has tried that. We've had our ownership issues with the Young Hong Lee saga, and thankfully it didn't do that much. I'm not say that much damage. It could have been much worse, right?
mm-hmm.
In my
Yeah,
opinion.
for sure.
So now the Elliott Fund, which it is a fund and wants to make Milan profitable, but their end goal is to sell Milan and make a profit, right? So we're still not out of this ownership problem right now. Uh, but it's nice to see. Rocco Commisso was also interested in Milan, right? So and that's just to see how ambitious he is. So it's nice to have an Italo Americano in Serie A, which he's
Yeah.
slowly, every time I watch him, I see him trying to I see him getting more and more comfortable, and I see him try to bring a little bit of that North American attitude to Serie A, right? Like he's not gonna take the bogus calls. He's gonna speak for it, and and there is a transition period for him because he is an outsider coming in, whether he is Italo Americano or not. The old guard of Serie A, he's gonna need to wait in line to be welcomed into those fancy
Yeah,
parties,
for
right? So
sure. Yeah.
I wish him the best of luck. Like I said, I like Fiorentina. If we could pick your brain a bit about Fiorentina and the young talent that's being produced at Fiorentina, who excites you the most?
At the moment, I guess I'd say Castrovilli. He was almost sold as part of a big clear out. Again, it was Rocco's work that there were too many professionals on the books. All these hundreds of players, that is just too many. And he was nearly shipped out as part of that clear out, but actually it was Vincenzo Montella who is actually For all his faults, he's very, very good at selecting young players and bringing them forward. You guys know that too. And he said, no, wait, this player is not to be sold. This was at the beginning of last season. And actually, Castrovilli went straight into the first team, and he's shown an incredible maturity. He's adapted very well to life in Serie A and very quickly. And he's a super skillful player, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing him develop in the midfield.
Nice, yeah, he's very interesting talent that Fiorentina is building up. I have a question here from the comments. Alec Garcia, he wants to know, Chloe, would you want Chiesa to stay or to leave Fiore?
I think if they can get the right money, it would be sensible to let him leave and reinvest the money into rebuilding the team. And, maybe you could get 2 or 3 players with that amount of money. I think if he's going to stay, I think that he needs to perhaps
put a smile on his face. Maybe put a smile on his face too, right?
Just reevaluate his attitude a little bit, and maybe try and learn from the likes of Ribery, who are more experienced, and really try and if you're going to have the attitude, you've got to have the performances to back it up. And at the moment, he just hasn't. So
yeah. No, I totally agree with that. There, if he's gonna go, well, you go and take that money and rebuild the team, which I think they will do that, and insert a little bit of youth around, Castrovilli and the other youth products that are coming up. I had also a question for you, Chloe. What happened with the manager's situation at Fiorentina was strange. There was like this whole De Rossi's coming, he's going to be the manager of Fiorentina, and of course, I love Mercato Madness and I love these transfer and these rumors. When I saw that, I just scratched my head. I was like, but what's going on over here? How do these things, and someone like that's why I need to ask you, because I'm not a freelance writer. I'm a dad that loves to look on Twitter for news. Like, how do I know now what's true and not true anymore?
it is really difficult. I think the best rule of thumb is that nothing is guaranteed until the player or the coach is sat down signing the contract. I mean, it is Twitter, and it is full of just rumors that have come from nowhere. Things can come from a whisper and then gather pace very, very quickly. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say that the Pirlo going to Juve as coach would have been a silly rumor, but that ended up to be true. So
that's crazy. The Pirlo to Juve rumor reminded me of when I saw Bonucci to Milan rumor. I was like, this is impossible. And I even wrote, I said, this is crazy. I said, I like Mercato Madness, but this can't be true. And then like he's coming to Milan. It's like, I didn't understand that. The Pirlo to Juve, it was funny. I heard that rumor, went to the park with my son who had a soccer game. He's 7 years old. Saw one of my friends who's a Juventino fan, and he's like, "What do you think about Pirlo?" I said, "This is not going to happen. This is crazy. You're getting rid of someone of Sarri to bring back Pirlo, and it's not that I don't know if Pirlo's going to do well or not. It's just logically, you want to win the Champions League, you want to repeat as Scudetto winners, and you're going to hire someone who he's obviously brilliant on the pitch. We don't know if he's going to be a brilliant manager. So, hey, look, who are we to say what's true or not true? That's for sure. But the ones that we think are false end up being true, and the ones that we think are true end up being false, right? So, remind everybody of Biabani. Biabani, who was holding a Milan scarf, and then we sent him back. Speaking of speaking of Biabani, who we were going to sign from Parma, and he did not sign with Milan, and we did send him back to Parma. But in the result of that, Galliani swooped in at the last days of the market, and he did buy Giacomo Bonaventura. Giacomo Bonaventura, who's near and dear to Presidente. That's why I am forced to ask this question, but I was going to ask it anyways. But we need to put some butter on this. And he's also messaging me, when are you going to ask Chloe about Bonaventura? When are you going to ask Chloe about Bonaventura? So Bonaventura this year, it did not re-sign with Milan and has moved on and signed for Fiorentina. I'm a Giacomo Bonaventura fan because he stayed with Milan. We were the, excuse my language, shit of the shit, the worst Milan that I've seen in the last 10 years. Who've probably taken away almost a year of my life in these last 10 years with the stress that I've gone through watching them. And he makes that move to Fiorentina. Now I was on the fence of whether should re-sign Giacomo Bonaventura or not, and we always said on the podcast, great professional, never complained, started from the bench, did have some injuries. If he maybe it was a disagreement on whether he would play enough games, but he decides to make the move. And now, Chloe, I would like to know your opinion on Giacomo Bonaventura joining Fiorentina. And welcome to the Mino Raiola Club. We meet every Mondays to discuss how Mino is going to squeeze our clubs for more money.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing for Fiorentina. I think that over the last few years they've gone a lot with youth, and in the previous ownership that was purely to save money. And I think that you do need some players who have very, very solid Serie A experience. And obviously we know that Bonaventura has his issues with fitness. How many games he can play, I don't know. But just having a player like that around in the dressing room, speaking to the young players, he's, again, we talked about the Italian players being at a premium. He is an Italian player. He knows Serie A. He's been at a big club, and I think that his experience will be excellent. And to pick him up as a free agent on a free transfer, I think, why not? Why not give him a try? It could really work out.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent signing for Fiorentina. They've done the Ribéry and Boateng. They tried to bring those guys in. Ribéry is going to still be with Fiorentina this year, so that's a nice. I think Boateng has moved on, uh, but I like that Fiorentina is now starting to mix that experience with their youth, and I think it's going to help the guys like Castrovilli and the youth that's coming up to get their teeth sunk in really into Serie A, right? With someone like Bonaventura, and he's been through like a like we said, a really tough time with Milan, and it was starting to get better. And now, the business takes over, and unfortunately, he's not re-signed with Milan, right? So I wish him the best of luck there. Chloe, let's go to you, and we've gone through a really unique time, right? I hope that we'll never speak again of a time that we've passed during these past couple of months. How did COVID and this whole switch in the way you need to do your work affect you, right? Because as a writer, it's tough. You need the sources to give you that information. You need to be around the park to get that information, and it's not easy anymore, right? No fans are allowed to attend the games. For you, how did that change the way you shifted and you adapted to this new situation that we're in right now?
Yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult when Serie A, when as with other European leagues, they stopped playing. It was difficult because as a writer, you're at the mercy of people, the places that you write for, of them having a budget, and with no football, their budgets drop because their sponsors pull out. It's all like a big deck of house of cards kind of effect. It just the bottom kind of fell out, and you're just losing work all over the place. So what I did was I took some time out. I took some time to think, and I decided that I wanted to launch my own Serie A newsletter and accompanying podcast, because I decided that I didn't want to be at the mercy of other people's budgets anymore. And for that reason, I've always had a really lovely Twitter following, lots of people who've really supported me right from the beginning. And I thought, I know that those people who follow me and who appreciate my work and know that it's good quality, I think they will invest in me. So my newsletter is it needs a small subscription fee, either per month or per year. And people have been so generous and have
You
signed up.
can tell people what it is. Don't worry about it. Here, it's free marketing for you. This is your time to plug it. Tell us how much it costs. Tell us where we can
Okay.
go. Don't be shy. You
Okay.
go. Don't worry about it.
So you go to, it's called Curva e Calcio. The idea was that the curva is the beating heart of what everything that goes on with fans of Italian football. So I wanted to create my own curva, my own fan base of people who are enthusiastic about Serie A, all things Italian football. And obviously the Calcio bit is the football. So the newsletter comes out almost every day. There's match previews, there's in-depth club information, player information. There is transfer market updates. I get those straight from the Italian papers. I do a podcast around twice a week usually, and one with a guest and one reviewing what's going on in the Italian press, because I subscribe to the Gazzetta dello Sport, Corriere dello Sport. And we have an account called Total Serie B, who it's Wesley Davidson. He does twice a week updates from Serie B, and it's quite useful for clubs like Milan who have players out on loan. He gives details about how they're doing. So it really is a comprehensive guide. It comes straight to your inbox. And it costs, at the moment, I have 20% off until the end of September. So it costs around 64 English pounds, which I guess you just add a little bit more on for dollars, for a whole year of content, or it is around £6.40 English pounds per week, per month, not per week.
Per month, yeah.
Yeah.
No, good, man. And you know what? And that's what we love to do at Milan Weekly Podcast here, is get, experienced people like yourself on, and talk about your projects, and what you guys are doing here. For us, look at me, Chloe. I'm old. I have a green hair. I have gray hair on my beard there. I want everybody to be able to reach out to you there, and that's the beauty about the culture. It's not just Milan Weekly Podcast. It's not Curva and Calcio. It's everybody, right? To be able to talk with
Big
each other.
community.
A
Yeah.
big community that shares ideas and the way we do stuff, right? So, um, now I'm gonna ask you some fast questions, just
Okay.
rapid fire question answers,
Sure.
because I know it's getting late, and it's dinner time for you guys, and
Sure.
I need to get back to work, to be very honest with you, or else someone's gonna fire me. But quick questions that
Sure.
favorite Fiorentina player.
Oh, it has to be Gabriel Batistuta,
That's a
no
nice
doubt.
choice. Not Rui Costa, no.
No, Batistuta for me.
Batistuta. Okay.
Yeah.
Least favorite Fiorentina player.
Oh,
You know,
who?
someone who's passed through the team. Who, what? Like for me, it's Bonucci, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's Bonucci. He passed through Milan. He used us. He
yeah.
wanted to make a statement, and you know what? He was never someone who was da Milan. He was always a Juventino at heart, right? Someone like that.
Mhm. Yeah, okay. Can I say a coach? Can I
Yes,
say a
of
coach?
course.
Okay, Paulo Sousa. I really didn't like Paulo Sousa.
Yeah, he looked like he passed through, using the Fiorentina as his own agenda to move on, right? So
Yeah.
I like that answer. Uh, Leads me to my next question: favorite Fiorentina manager.
Okay. I have to say, and this is only judging on his first spell, Vincenzo Montella, because he did so much for Fiorentina. They got fourth place 3 seasons in a row under him, which was a massive achievement. In today's times, that would have been Champions League football. At the time, it wasn't, but he did a great job the first time round.
Yeah, and it's strange with Montella. I couldn't understand what happened to him after Fiorentina. It seems like every decision he was making was the wrong one, or just not picking. He spent some time at Milan, then he took some time off, and then we saw him. I forget if I might be skipping a club, but I saw him at Sevilla too, and just didn't work
Yeah,
out for him.
Sampdoria. Yeah.
Very, very, very strange circumstances with Mr. Montella, the little plane. Your favorite Fiorentina moment?
Oh, I would have to say I went to Fiorentina Juve. I think it was 2017, and I was there in the stadium, and Fiorentina won 2-1. And the party that went on under the stands afterwards was just incredible. Favorite moment on the pitch, I'd have to say probably Joaquin's goal in the another win over Juve, 4-2 win over Juve. That was just priceless. That was in 2013, I think.
Amazing. If you would have the chance to be the Mercato madam in charge, the Mercato king for one day in Fiorentina, who would you purchase?
Okay, someone realistic or
Someone
not?
realistic. Well, let's
Yeah,
go.
someone realistic.
Let's go. You know what? Let's go both. Someone realistic and someone you know that you're never going to be able to buy.
Okay, so realistic, I would say I'd quite like to see Cavani at Fiorentina. I know he's very tied to Napoli and he may not move anywhere else, but yeah, I think he could do a good job, score some goals. We really need a striker, so
Yeah.
Cavani maybe. Other than that, I think um, somebody young and exciting like Mbappe, unrealistic
Yeah.
transfers.
I, fi- you know what, Cavani. I read an article and I forgot who sent out that tweet about Cavani, requesting $10 million from Benfica, and Rui Costa having his rebuttal saying that, if he had to give $10 million to Cavani, how much would he have to have paid for Batistuta? Like $50 million a year, right? So, and I get that, and and it's because it's so different between North American sports and European sports that, for us here in North America, someone who's not as in tune with Calcio as we are is going to say, you know what, why are they complaining about $10 million a year? Like
Yeah.
in baseball, $10 million a year, you're like an average player.
Mhm.
In football, you're kind of an average player as well. In basketball, you might be like the guy who fills up the water bottles in basketball just because of the amount of players that they have, right? Their squad is
Yeah.
much smaller, and I have trouble explaining that to people who don't understand is that in Europe they're not used to these prices. The same way they're not used to ticket prices, they're not used to those salaries, and for them to get higher on that salary range is scaring them. And it's and honestly, I was reading that tweet and that article, and again, I'm so mad that I forgot who put that out there, but it was almost like I could feel Rui Costa being scared of what might happen to soccer if the salaries go up, right? So
Mhm.
that was, it's interesting that you said Cavani there.
Mm.
I have one question there. It's very important for everybody, and they're not going to judge because no, we don't judge here on Milan Weekly Podcast, but people will remind you if you answer this wrong.
Okay.
If Chloe comes home from a very very tough day, a lot of people bugging you, a lot of people asking you questions that you're not happy about. But Chloe sits down and wants to make something to eat. And tonight, Chloe is eating pasta. You've decided that you want to eat pasta. It's pasta with sauce, and you have two boxes that you can put into this boiling water of pasta. Penne rigate, so penne rigate, or penne lisce. Which one does Chloe put in the water to boil for her pasta that night?
Mm, my husband does the pasta cooking in our house, so okay. I
I wish your husband would be there. I would call him right now, and I want to know the answer from him.
but okay, let's go with penne rigate.
Yes, Chloe, you win. No one will ever bug you. Pennelisha, Chloe, are like goldfish. They come in your mouth and they squiggle down. The sauce doesn't stick. They should almost be eliminated from the earth. During the pandemic, there was multiple articles and people posting no food anywhere but a full rack of pennelisha. So you answered well, right? And Sabrina's laughing. She knows that I'm gonna ask the penne question. My next and final subject for you after this of course the Penelishi question is for people, like, if you hear of and you listen to the podcast, and everybody out there, I'm a big advocate of, how Serie A is perceived here in North America and around the world outside of Europe, right? So we know they
Hmm.
have that stronghold in Italy, and people love the Serie A, but I'm always disappointed in how Serie A has been behind in how they market themselves here in North America, right? So
Hmm.
uh, I would like to pick your brain about, what can Serie A do to help people not like me, because I'm gonna follow it. I'm gonna find a way to follow it. But the casual fan, the fan who's getting into soccer, the dad who, his son, he's played hockey his whole life, but the son wants to play soccer this year.
Hmm.
How does Serie A turn that curve and get more attention on their game and our game, which I think is one of the best leagues in the world? Don't I'm not. I hope you're not going to get offended, but EPL is greatly marketed, but nowhere close to what Serie A can give in
I
terms of a
agree.
product.
I agree.
So, what do you think? What do you think Serie A could do?
I think it needs to get on top of the racism. I think that is a very important point if it wants to be taken seriously and modernize and move forward. I think the obviously the stadiums need improving for those people who want to go over to Italy and actually watch a game. I think the kickoff times are another thing. They don't flex and change the kickoff times until too late, like 2 weeks before, and then again, people who want to travel over and watch a match, or people who want to schedule their TV viewing around their lives and their activities, it's too late. And I also think they need to just be more modern in their English language content. They need to get people who know what they're doing, not just Italian people who can speak English. They need to get proper, um,
They need Chloe. They
experts.
need Chloe.
Yeah, they
And,
need
and
them.
and not again, not to throw flowers at you because you're on the show. They need people like you. I myself, yes, I can get in front of this camera. I'm not the most polished person in the world, but I can't write like you. They need someone to write for them. They need someone to communicate their message the way they want to, from Italian to English, which does not translate accordingly if you're using Google Translate, right?
No, no.
And be more supportive of, like, people like yourself, people like Milan Weekly Podcast, so on, Sempre Inter, the list goes on and on, Roma Press, guys and women like this who, want to see Serie A grow outside of Europe, and want to try to use their content, and not to make hundreds of millions of dollars off it, but at least be able to use some of this content to produce something like Milan Weekly Podcast,
Yeah,
where I would love to, be talking to Chloe right now and showing you a picture of, when the transfer happened between Fiorentina and Milan about Rui Costa. But I can't take that chance because I'm going to get a strike for using content that doesn't belong
copyright.
to me, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Watch alongs too, and the way, for me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they need to partner up. The ESPN Plus here in North America is great digital watching, but it's not on the main network, right? You don't catch everybody that's on regular cable with Serie A. They show maybe one or two games. Matteo Bonetti does a great job of commentating those games, and he's an advocate of Serie A as well. But
Hmm.
like the rest of ESPN is basically, when it's Champions League time, is, Gabriele Marcotti is constantly defending Serie A towards the EPL, right? And and we need more people like that to have that voice and have that strength to make a difference, right? And that's how Serie A is going to get in everybody's home, and everybody is going to be able to, appreciate what Serie A could give, because EPL, again, I watch it because I'm a soccer junkie. It's really entertaining, but I truly believe that the product that Serie A could put forward, and it can only get even better, is by getting to that market that's outside of Europe as well. So,
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
um, one last question for you, and I would get crucified if I don't ask you this question. I want to in covering Fiorentina, how is Fiorentina's accessibility to the women's team? Like, do you have the Fiorentina has a women's team in the Serie A for the
Mhm.
women's league? Uh, do they get someone like yourself who covers Fiorentina? Is it easy to access the Fiorentina players? I'm saying men and women, but I'm just saying I want your point on the women's game because that's the one that needs more attention, right? People
Mhm.
know that Fiorentina exists, male, but now we need to bring attention that hey, Fiorentina has a good women's team. Is it easier to have access to the women's team so that we can promote them a little bit more, or or it's just as much trouble as getting access to the men's team?
Um, I don't tend to specialize in women's football, but I think the social media does a good job. I think they um, the press officer at Fiorentina is fairly open, and I'm looking to work with them a bit more closely in the future. But yeah, I think Fiorentina are keen to promote their women's, but like everything at the moment with Fiorentina, it's just a work in progress. But they're very proud of their women's team, and they are keen to push forward with it.
Excellent. Good stuff. Chloe, I will not take much more of your time. I'll give you again the stage for you to tell everybody how they can follow your work and your projects. And please, guys, if you're not following Chloe, get out from underneath that rock. Go to your little you go to your little handheld phone, go to the little bird, follow Chloe. Her Twitter handle is underneath there, and please guys, it's worth the price of admission.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter, as you can see on the screen, at Chloe J. Beresford. On there, you can find the link to my newsletter and podcast. But the web link is curva a calcio, all one word, .substack.com.
Excellent, Chloe. I thank you so much for joining us. I hope you will come on again.
I
and
will.
uh, and again, thank you so much, guys. Thank you all for everybody who joined live. Thank you to everybody who's going to join later once they see that we had Chloe on the show. And please, guys, follow us at Milan Weekly Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Go to this the go and subscribe to our channel. We do have a Patreon as well, as you can see the link below. And guys, please support guys like myself and fantastic people like Chloe and in promoting Serie A to everybody out there in the English speaking world. Chloe, thank you very much and have
Well,
yourself a
welcome.
fantastic evening.
You too.
Bye
Ciao.
bye. Fantastic guest, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you to Chloe. We're going to wrap it up so I can go back to work. Guys, Forza Milan, Mercato Madness. Let's see what's left, guys. Let's see what's left. Some good stuff from Maldini, some good stuff from the club. We should be proud. We signed Tonali. I'll give you a little bit of my opinion on Tonali, guys. This kid's living a dream. We tweeted out yesterday. It's a dream that each one of us who love the black and red will want to or imagined ourselves at one point in time, whether we took the pitch of being that kid who was a Milan fan, went through the soccer hierarchy, went and got a contract with his childhood team, Milan, guys. So let's get positively behind him. Let's get let's get Milan Twitter, everybody on the same page. And again, guys, ovunque sempre, Forza Milan.